Here's another question. Should students' first exposure to a topic always be an explanation of that topic? In the kind of classic flipped classroom approach, students watch online videos or read some textbooks before class, and it kind of introduces the topic through explanations and examples. Is that always the best way for students to first encounter a topic? It's a really good question, and it's kind of a subtle question. And it's one that I think matters, depends a lot on what the topic is. So there was an interesting study that came out a couple of years ago that looked at a particular set of topics in a kind of neuroscience curriculum and had students go into two different groups. Some students encountered readings and videos first to explain the ideas in this topic. And then they did these hands-on activities, these kind of simulation, kind of almost a game kind of thing where they played with the neural connections. Group B, those students started with the more experiential learning through the hands-on activities, and then they did some readings and watched some videos that helped explain some of the concepts in that experiential learning activity. And what the researchers found was that when they assessed these students down the road, it was Group B students who did better on those assessments of student learning. And so I think this is an important study because it shows that the answer is no, not always is an explanation the best way to introduce students to a topic. Sometimes, for some topics, a more experiential approach is a better first approach. As students kind of get their hands messy with this idea, maybe get a little bit confused, and then have some explanations that help resolve those confusions. That's kind of the time for telling idea, and it can be really powerful. And so I would advise you, as you think about the design of your own classes for particular topics, what is the best kind of first exposure? It may not be a straight up explanation or introduction. It may need to be something a little bit more experiential. I'll also point out that in this study, all of this work was done students working individually. So the study actually doesn't say anything about what should be done during class collaboratively versus on your own. It just talks about the order of the learning activities themselves. So you may find that sometimes you want to have the first exposure during class and experiential and collaborative. And other times the first exposure could be outside of class, but still experiential. Those are my questions and answers. If you have other questions or you'd like to explore these questions a little bit more, I strongly encourage you to take to the discussion boards, share your questions there, push back on my answers, engage with each other. Designing a course with this flipped classroom approach is a little bit challenging, and I think we can learn a lot from each other as we explore some of the options and challenges associated with the flipped classroom. In the next video, you'll get to meet Robert Talbert from Grand Valley State University. He's going to walk you through his approach to the flipped classroom and particularly how he uses screencasts as a way to create those online first exposures for students.